The moon hung high in the desolate sky, casting an eerie glow on the winding road that lead Irwin Shaw, a seemingly ordinary man, home. The 36 years old father drove with his family after attending his wife Amanda's sister wedding. Beside him, Amanda, 30 years old, held their 1-year-old baby Jerwin, while their 5-year-old daughter Beth dozed in the back seat. The clock struck midnight, and the once peaceful journey took a nightmarish turn when their car broke down in the middle of nowhere, with no signs of civilization in sight. Irwin and Amanda decided to embark on a desperate search for help, carrying the sleeping Beth and a crying Jerwin. As they walked through the darkness, the cries of their infant pierced the stillness, reaching the ears of a wild and terrifying black bear. Panic set in as the family desperately tried to hush Jerwin, but the relentless pursuit of the ferocious beast persisted. Miraculously, they stumbled upon an old house, a haven from the claws of the impending danger. The house belonged to Jose, 57, with his wife Tammy, 56, and their daughter Sandra, 24. The kind family welcomed the stranded travelers, offering some refuge for the night. The warmth of the home and peace of shared dinner brought a momentary reprieve to Shaw family. As midnight settled in, Irwin and his family found themselves nestled in one room of the unfamiliar house. However, as the world outside slept, Irwin's eyes snapped open at 3 a.m. A peculiar feeling led him downstairs, where he overheard Jose and Tammy conspiring to kill them. Shocked and confused, Irwin silently retreated, rushing back to the room. But before he could grasp the reality of the situation, Sandra, the old couple's daughter, emerged from the shadows and struck Irwin unconscious. When Irwin woke up, he found himself in a dark basement. The only light emanating was from a single lamp. His hands were bound, and through tiny window, he glimpsed a desolate landscape outside. Fueled by desperation, Irwin managed to escape the confines of his captivity, using keys from his pocket to cut the ropes binding his hands. Yet the sharpness of the keys left his hands deeply wounded. Returning to the room, he discovered that his family and family Jose had vanished. The house had transformed into a labyrinth of nightmares. Outside his car lay in ruins, consumed by flames. As shock settled, Irwin was confronted not by one, but 2 enormous bears, reminiscent of the terrifying chase that led them to the stranger's house. A gruesome battle ensued as Irwin fought the bears, one by one, until their lifeless bodies lay before him. Exhausted and battered, Irwin pressed on, stumbling upon another house in the deep night. Inside, he found Sandra alone, fearful and on the edge. She recoiled at the sight of Irwin. Unbeknownst to her, he sought answers about his missing family. Sandra revealed that she didn't know where her parents, Jose and Tammy, were. Confusion enveloped Irwin as he questioned her in return. In frantic attempt to escape the encroaching nightmare, Sandra sprinted outside into the dark forest. Irwin pursued her, leading to a series of struggles and confrontations. Amid the chaos, Sandra stumbled upon the grisly scene of the 2 bears Irwin had slain. Finally catching up to her, Irwin assured Sandra he meant no harm, Holding the severed head of one of the bears, he declared his intention to survive. Sandra tearfully recounted the truth. Erwin had been alone when he arrived at the house. Her parents had sensed something amiss as he talked to himself during dinner. The horrifying revelation hit Erwin like a tidal wave. In hallucinatory fog, he had conjured a family, Amanda, Jerwin, and Beth. They were not real, they were his victims. Before the incident, Amanda had been driving with her children when Erwin, posing as a hitchhiker, took their lives. The nightmare deepened as Erwin realized his descent into madness. He fabricated a story about a chase, a stranded family, and a daring escape. The two bears that he killed were not real bears, but Sandra's parents, and the horror continued to unravel. Overwhelmed by truth, Erwin stood pale, speechless and confused. In shocking turn, he attacked and killed Sandra. Once the gruesome act concluded, Erwin slipped back into a semblance of normalcy, watching the news on a TV in his victim's house. The broadcast unveiled the revelation that a wandering serial killer had escaped from prison nearby, the very place Erwin had ventured from. The desolate road, once a path of escape, had become the theater for Erwin's macabre descent into madness, leaving behind a trail of blood and horror.